Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We shall begin this session with a special address by Dr. Zamir Iqbal, Vice President Finance, Islamic Development Bank, with the title Building a Resilient and Sustainable Growth for Islamic Finance, joining us virtually.
Rahim, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good morning to you all in the beautiful city of Kuala Lumpur. Although I'm unable to visit KL this time, I'm looking forward to returning soon, once again to experience the warm hospitality of the great country of Malaysia. On behalf of Islamic Development Bank, I would like to express our sincere thanks to the organizers for inviting me to this prestigious event and for their continuous efforts for putting together the 17th edition of this important industry forum. Here on the opening day of this forum, I'm very pleased to share some of my thoughts on building a resilient and sustainable growth for Islamic finance, which I believe is a very timely topic given the prioritization of both resilient and sustainable recovery by nations around the world that have witnessed the huge negative impact of recent twin crises. Even though the sustainability was pursued as a value proposition through the Millennium Development Goals by the United Nations, it was really the subsequent formulation of the 17 high-level Sustainable Development Goals in 2015 that enshrined its explicitity in all the encompassing social, economic, and environmental dimensions of the development. As the global financial industry plays an important role in the economic development. Some of the 169 specific targets of SDGs also include actions that the financial industry could take to play a better role for sustainable economic development. The same, of course, goes for the Islamic financial industry as well. Islamic financial institutions are, I believe, actually better placed than their conventional counterparts to play an active role towards sustainability in the regions and communities that they operate in. How much stronger of an evidence of a value system do we need than one of the Maqasid al-Sharia calling to protect the future generations and leaving a better world behind us for our coming generations? This is at the heart of sustainability and should be a guiding principle for all, particularly for Islamic financial institutions in their top-level strategies all the way down to day-to-day operations. The health cum economic crisis has shown the glaring gaps and vulnerabilities and served as a reminder to us all that we cannot move forward together without building resilient systems and supporting infrastructure. A consensus has emerged among all development stakeholders, and no one doubts that the post-COVID-19 recovery has to be sustainable, resilient, and green. Let's see how Islamic financial industry could play a critical role in such sustainable, resilient, and green recovery through its ethical and responsible finance principles. We should continue to remind ourselves that the core principles of Islamic finance are pro-growth, with a strong emphasis on financing the real sector and avoiding over-financialization of the economy. At the same time, equitable resource allocation and risk sharing should happen to promote social and economic justice. As an industry with more than $3.5 trillion in Islamic assets and growing at a rapid pace, Islamic finance stakeholders should be at the forefront of delivering economic development in a sustainable and resilient fashion. Islamic financial institutions, on their part, should capitalize on ongoing work in developing an ecosystem to enable Islamic finance and reshape their strategies for stronger alignment with the SDGs. This will result in a knock-on effect on their operations, including better fundamentals and early warning systems, green and social asset creation, as well as diversification. In addition to bolstering the industry's overall credentials, such a strategic alignment would also attract large investments from new investor universe such as those in environment, social and governance or ESG, and socially responsible investment, the SRI spaces. It would also provide a stronger momentum in the Islamic capital markets, where the further asset creation will enable large volume of green, social and sustainability sukuk to be issued and resources will be mobilized for development. Both green sukuk and sustainability sukuk are recent innovations which have definitely enhanced the profile of Islamic financial instruments amongst investors of all shades, who can see clearly that sukuk can play a key role in driving more capital flows toward a sustainable future. Islamic Development Bank has been the leader of issuing AAA green and sustainability sukuk to mobilize funds for development. Regulators and standard setting bodies on their part should deepen their engagement with market players and ensure that their policy frameworks are efficient and allow competitiveness and innovation, but with a sharper focus on sustainable practices and stronger preparedness for future shocks with regular and rigorous testing. My final thoughts are centered around what is happening today. As the world is still reeling from the pandemic's aftershocks as well as the current Eastern European crisis, special attention has to be paid towards more than 50 million people who have unfortunately fallen back into poverty. And this is just in the 57 member countries of Islamic Development Bank. Poverty incidents are higher in rural and areas and fragile countries, and the issues are now compounded by a food security crisis. Any progress that excludes such population will not be sustainable progress. This is where Islamic financial institutions should shore up their corporate social responsibility efforts and explore innovative solutions to address the situation. And it should not be limited to the commercial or business ventures only. Islamic social finance as a tool for redistribution of wealth is another key aspect whereby the beneficial concepts of sadaqat, zakat and awqaf should be further scaled up as efficiently as possible in order to ensure that Islamic finance industry's growth is not only sustainable and resilient, but also inclusive, where no one is left behind. It is very important for Islamic finance, Islamic social finance to leverage on the digital revolution and maximize its potential so that this sector fully complements the development of the real sector of the economy. At our end, at the Islamic Development Bank, we recently realigned our strategic objectives and prioritized 3 key pillars of action in this context. First is to boost recovery from the pandemic as a matter of urgent priority. Deeply interconnected with this is the second pillar, which is to tackle the increasing poverty levels and build resilience for better preparedness for any similar future shocks. And finally, act as a catalyst to drive green economic growth in our member countries for a sustainable future that respects the planet and fulfills our role as a vice regent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. Islamic finance is a cross-cutting theme across all these pillars, and we aim to become more innovative to continue promoting social and economic justice in our member countries, inshallah. With these thoughts, I conclude and would like to thank the organizers once again for their sincere efforts and wish you all a successful 3 days of deliberation for the betterment of Islamic finance industry, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Zamir Iqbal from IDB.